By the end of this video, my goal is that you learn at least one thing that's going to actually help you win more games of Madden 25. So we got to start off with passing 101, and we got to talk about the two different types of passes here immediately, one of which is going to be the lob pass, which is simply by tapping your receiver icon. So let's show it right here. I want to throw it to X, so I'm just going to tap X, and that's going to get me a lob pass. And it makes sense, right? It's lobbed up, kind of breadbasket-esque catch. The next type is going to be the bullet pass. Now, with the bullet, we're going to hold this bad boy down a little bit longer, right? And you're going to see that pass trajectory is a little bit lower. We're still going deep down the field, so it's going to be pretty fast, or it's going to be a little bit lob still. But that's going to get us a bullet pass. You can see it right there. Now, on bullet passes, there's some different feedback we can get. Let's show right here. This is going to be a blue pass. This means it's a perfect throw. That ball is going to go exactly where you put it. So if you put it out of reach, it's going to go out of reach, by the way. A blue pass is just by timing this bad boy right where I'm showing it. So like, boom. We actually overdid it. And by overdoing it, we got an orange pass. If you saw that meter above his head, that was an orange throw. That means it's going to be inaccurate. Usually still catchable, but inaccurate, and the defense could get it, okay? Let's see if we get another blue pass. Nope, we mistime it. But this time, the mistiming leads to a yellowish green, which is a slight accuracy penalty. So blue is when you time it perfectly, okay? Green, or I'm sorry, yellowish green. There we go. Here we get an actual green. Green is going to be a mistime, but they give you perfect accuracy still, okay? So blue is you time it perfectly, perfect accuracy. Green is you mistime it, but they still give you perfect accuracy due to like a ratings dice roll. Orange is you mistimed it, and now they're really hurting the throw. And then this right here, the yellowish kind of green, is you mistimed it, but it's only a slight accuracy penalty. You also could get red, which is going to be like a totally missed throw, but that doesn't happen too often, all right? Now, I want to show you my pass settings really fast here. Let's go into options. Let's go into settings, and then let's go down to game options, placement accuracy, passing slowdown off, pass lead increase small, reticle speed 7 out of 20, and then user only, all right? Now, we do got to mention the idea of pass leading. This is all done with the left stick. I'll show you a good example of what this actually looks like. If we go to the streak on the left side, let's say we have leverage to the inside. We'll push that left stick all the way in right when we start pressing the receiver icon, okay? I can kind of show you a better example of this time. Let's say, oh, I need to throw this ball inside. We'll throw it inside right there, and it's going to be a little bit in. You see we got the orange meter. That was a little inaccurate because of it. Let's say instead, though, we actually have leverage to the outside. So let's push this stick all the way outside. You see how it's different? The biggest, easiest way to know where to pass lead is you just want to get it away from the defense, right? Let's say right here, we want to pass lead up because the defense is underneath us. Or, let's say the defense is above us on this out route. We're going to push the left stick down, and my receiver is going to go down to it, right? This is a massive, massive, massive deal. Now, one thing you may have noticed is that I haven't talked about touch passing, which is a little bit in between of bullet and lob passing. I'm going to keep it 100% with you guys. Nobody who throws the ball at a super high level, I'm talking about the guys who've won tens of thousands, $100,000 playing the game, touch pass. Instead, to get the ball above a defender, they're going to do a bullet pass with the high ball mechanic. So it's holding the icon down, but then holding LB or L1, which is going to get that ball up higher. Touch passes are not what you want to do in this game. It just literally isn't. I promise you, if you highball, you're going to throw less picks and get way better results. And that's with bullet passing, while also holding the LB or L1. You can still blue on those bad boys. Now, I do highly recommend you practice your blue passing, because that will negate any kind of pressure and accuracies, any kind of low ratings or anything like that. So being good at blue passing, very, very helpful. I keep on missing it, actually, so maybe I need to work on it as well. Let's go one more streak, see if we can nail the blue passing, and then move on to our next one. Let's go, bang. Streak route, blue pass, perfect. You're able to run into the end zone. And if you've gotten any value from these videos and you feel like this will actually help you win more games, consider doing me a favor and hitting the subscribe button. Over 90% of people who are watching right now just aren't subscribed, and it seriously helps because it tells YouTube that you enjoyed this and that more Madden players like yourself would also enjoy this type of content. So again, only subscribe if this has actually helped you. And now, let's get back into the video. When you're on the 2-yard line, push the left stick up and hold X or square on PlayStation to get that super Jimmy jump you just saw right there. Let's do it again right here. Boom! We're able to jump into the end zone. I love doing this from like goal line formations, I forms, heavier under center formations where we run dives. And notice that Superman animation is different than what we would do in the open field if we held the dive button, right? X or square on PlayStation. This only works on the goal line, usually inside the 2-yard line, and we just push the left stick directly up and hold X or square. If you can trigger it, bang. You won't get it every single time. Usually, I seem to only get it when you really need it. So let's go right there. Bang, we're able to get it, and then got sucked into that animation. Just simply push left stick up, hold X or square, and you will get that super just Jimmy jump over the top style. Boom, able to get it again. This is often the difference between scoring touchdowns and getting stopped inside the 2-yard line, where it's always tough to score. I wanted to give you guys a high-level play that's easy to run and you can start using right now in Madden 25 to start winning more games. These are called RPO reads. And to find out if your playbook has any of these, which a lot of playbooks do, you can go over to your Concepts tab, choose Option, and you'll see a category called RPO reads. And these come in all shapes, sizes, forms, all that good stuff, where you see the RPO read Y arrow, which is pretty cool, the RPO read flat wheel, but my favorite is the RPO read bubble. I think it's the simplest, it's the lowest risk, and usually the highest reward in my opinion too. So what makes this really cool is that it's a read option, that's where the RPO read comes in, and it is a bubble, that's where the RPO part of it, right? So we go right here, against trip sets, or when you're running this from a trip set, like we are right here in the trips tight end offset week in the Giants playbook, you are able to throw this bubble screen a ton, right? You can't always throw it, but you're able to throw him a lot. And then on top of that, right, we have this read option right here. So let's see what this read key defender does on the right side of the field. If he crashes down hard, I'm going to hold A or X to pull the ball with Daniel Jones. This is different than last Madden, by the way. If he stands up, I'm not going to touch anything, and I'm going to my running back will take the ball, okay? So we do this, he crashes down, we're going to hold A or X, and we're actually able to get a massive play right there with Daniel Jones if we didn't slide down. Keep in mind, I try not to touch A or X on PlayStation to pull the ball until the last possible minute, okay? So just keep that as a little tidbit. Let's go right here, back to it, boom. We're actually gonna pull it again, and we're able to get another huge gain. And I think the bubble was open there as well. This is an easy play you can apply to your playbook. Again, I'm in the Giants one. This is probably my favorite, gun trips tight end offset week, but a ton of playbooks have these RPO read style plays. Right here, we're in the Indianapolis Colts playbook in the gun bunch. And I'm going to talk about a concept that almost, like, I feel like nobody uses that is incredibly good, which is the idea of audibling around. You see right here, we went from the gun bunch to the gun bunch wide. Nothing too crazy about that right there. But then, let's now go into the trips tight end offset. This is a really good way to keep your opponents off guard and then be able to catch them sleeping or catch them not adjusting fast enough to whatever new formation you're going to. And I'm going to show some pretty advanced strategies with this too. So, first and foremost, how do we audible? When we get to the line of scrimmage right here, if we press X or square on PlayStation, you'll see we have 4 audibles to choose from in the formation we're already in. But if you hit the D-pad over to the left or the right, you'll see we actually get different options to audible to that matches the personnel of the formation you're already in. So right here, right, we're in the gun bunch, which has 1 halfback, 1 tight end, so 11 personnel, and then 3 wide receivers, all right? So we can only audible to other 3 wide receiver sets. But what if we added a tight end to gun bunch, okay? The way I might do this is go to the formation screen, press Y or triangle. Let's tab over to downs, right? Let's say we want to sub downs out, so we're going to hit A on him. And then let's actually sub a tight end named Granson into that spot. So now we just changed this from 11 personnel to 12 personnel. Why? Because we have 2 tight ends on the field right now, right? We have Ali Cox and we have Granson. Look at what audibles we can go to now. This changes incredibly, right? We are no longer able to go to the trips tight end. Instead, we have a heavy set like single back wing slot that we can audible down to. Or the single back wing stack, which is also really good. But, dang, I really want to call a different play from single back wing stack, not one that's in those 4 audibles. What we could do is actually go into the single back wing stack in this area of the screen. Okay, the formation panel. Click into it so we can see the plays and tap left trigger or L2 on PlayStation. These are the 4 audibles we have currently, but we could select one of these like flank or spot and then replace it with any play that's in this formation. So I actually want to replace this with halfback stretch. Now, when we come out in gun bunch, we get all of the advantages of running a very high-level elite passing set like the gun bunch, but then I could just quickly audible down to the single back wing stack stretch play, and just like that, we're able to run a very multi-dimensional offense without doing too much, right? Just by matching personnels and by changing our audibles. See what I'm saying? This is a massive, massive advantage because a lot of defenses are going to be good against the pass and struggle against the run. Or vice versa. They're going to struggle against the run, but be good against the run and struggle against the pass. Now, the best way I've found to do this is to come out in lighter sets, like gun bunch, like trips or something, right? And then audible down into heavier sets. Doing it the other way usually just doesn't work out because you can't sub in wide receivers at the halfback spot. Another thing we could do to make this like very, very crazy is let's see if we can put in a halfback right here, and then let's see if we can put in 3 tight ends. Okay, we got 1 tight end, 2 tight end, and we have 3 tight ends now. Beautiful. So we're coming out in 5 wide. But let's see what the audibles look like here. We now are going from 5 wide to goal line. You can see the different advantages that doing this style of offense can have, especially if you do it fast and you're unpredictable throughout a game. It's gonna put your opponent in hell. It's very annoying. I've defended this style of offense for years. I wish I wasn't telling you this. Let's take a look at this corner route on the left side of your screen and watch as he slowly becomes the deepest corner route ever and then becomes the shortest corner route ever. This is called custom stems, and I want to show you 2 things. 1, how to do it, and 2, my favorite routes to actually do this on to add into your offense. So, the rules for doing this is pretty simple. First, we have to select the Y or triangle button, open up our select receivers tab, and then select a receiver who's on a route that has a cut in it. In this case, our outside left wide receiver is on a post. So I'm going to select him, and then we want to hold LB or L1. That is going to select our custom stems, and then when we hold it, we can push the left stick up or down. Just like that, you see we're able to custom stem. So the way we do it again is Y or triangle, select the receiver we want to custom stem, hold LB or L1, and then use the left stick, all right? And we're able to just push them all the way down or all the way up. Now, it's important to keep in mind that not every route can be custom stemmed. For example, this halfback out route, if we try to do the same thing, he can't be. And there's just some routes that can, and some routes are just kind of bugged where you think they can, but they actually can't. So it's just something you'll learn inside your own offense. But a good one is like any route that has a cut in it, for the most part, should be able to be custom stem. So it's out route here, custom stem, custom stem, custom stem. Now, you could, in theory, make a corner route go all the way down the field. This could be really good for a bomb, potentially. The thing you gotta keep in mind, though, as he finally gets into his cut, is that if you make it go down make it go all the way down the field, it's just not gonna be incredible. You know what I mean? It just takes forever, right? One really cool way to do this, though, is to put a slot wide receiver on a post route and then stem him up. Let's see if we can actually, there we go. Sometimes a little visual bug with it where it doesn't show it happening. But there we go. And now we might actually get a cover 3 bomb here. I'm curious if we do. If we don't, we just have to, there we go. He was open. Didn't have enough time, but he was open. And so what we're able to do here is makeshift route combos that we've never been able to do before in certain formations. This lowers the playing field between things like gun bunch and every other formation in the game. I don't know how we just dropped that, but that's whatever. Now, my favorite route to actually do this on is corner routes. I love hot routing a corner route, so press Y or triangle, select your receiver. This time we're going to do X, and then we'll go left on the right stick. Now he's on a corner. And I love putting him all the way down, especially on the short side of the field or the boundary side, because he's just going to get to a really nice area of the sideline that takes very specific coverages to defend. And if we have a route going underneath him, we are going to be able to just throw that one instead. So we are creating a high-low concept. Let's go back, custom stem this corner route all the way down. Let's see, we're getting a little bit of a visual glitch on the left side, but there we're able to show it. And now, okay, they play that corner route. We're able to get our halfback underneath. So we're creating a very simple high-low, and we can now do this from every single formation because we can hot route anybody on the field. No hot route master needed anymore or SWAT apprentice or anything like that. And we can custom stem this corner route all the way down. This used to be a very unique route that only certain formations had, and now every formation has it. It is incredibly valuable. I want to talk about the differences between the default auto alignment, the base auto alignment, and the man auto alignment, because these are three very different things, and they can be found on defense when you click the right stick in to bring up your coaching adjustments. Now, the rest of these coaching adjustments, I don't really care too much about. I will say I recommend having auto flip defensive play call on, and that's what I'm going to be using. But let's first discuss what the default auto alignment is by coming out in the nickel over, and let's call cover 3 sky, okay? This right here, default auto alignment, is going to literally match your personnel with their alignment. So if they're in something like bunch and I were to press right here, you'll see that all my guys are matched up, you know, hat on hat, basically. Especially on the right side, you see that. On the left side, you can see that. And if I were to audible, let's go bunch, open, tight end, you'll see our defense totally shifts and matches them yet again. And if I were to audible now to something like, let's go to trips, tight end, offset, you'll see again, my guys are going to shift to match their alignment. This is pretty straightforward in my opinion, and you kind of get a basic idea of how this is going to look typically. But now, let's show you what base alignment looks like, okay? So let's come back out on offense. We'll start out in the bunch once again, and let's go auto alignment to base. Now, a quick little note is that you can only change this inside of your coach adjustments. You cannot do it on the field. So now we're in base align. That's what people call is base alignment. And notice immediately how my both safeties are up high and my outside corners are all the way outside. And if I were to press by pressing Y or triangle down the left stick, you see that my boys all press, but they're not actually over the receivers necessarily, right? My slot corner happens to be, but you'll see that they have a base alignment. This is how they're going to align against everything. And I can prove that to you by, let's go to something like the bunch open tight end. Notice how I just audibled and my defense didn't move at all. That's the same thing that happened, or that's exactly not what happened in the last one. Let's now go to the trips tight end offset, and my defense doesn't move. They're base aligned. They have their base alignment, and that is what they are doing. Okay, now the pros of this is that your defense is going to line up the exact same way every single time, right? Which can be really nice for certain blitzes that need specific blitz angles to come from. Imagine if we had a slot corner blitz coming off the right edge where this guy needs to line up here every time, and moving in and out with the offense would mess up his blitz. Or we had a very specific run defense. A big downfall of this is that sometimes you can get misaligned. As you see right here, we actually have 3 wide receivers to the left of the screen, and we only have 1 cornerback over there. Another issue with this is that sometimes this can literally it's all alignment issues, really. You can get out leveraged, out aligned. Sometimes it can be bad for run defense because you have corners all the way on the outside. But that's what base alignment looks like. That will be used a lot of times by very pro level and meta defenses in the game because it keeps everything simple for you on defense. Your guys always line up the exact same way, which is very helpful. Man alignment is a little bit different. This will always look like man coverage. So actually, man alignment and default alignment are the exact same if I came out in man coverage plays when I'm in default alignment. So keep that in mind. So what this looks like is if we come out and cover 2 man right here, and we audible, we can see it better if we audible to a trip set. Notice what my guys do. They all actually match up in man alignment with wide receivers, right? Like this looks like man coverage. Boom. It's just man aligned, right? Where this gets cool though is if I were to come out in like let's say a cover 3 and I were to press again, you'll actually see we get that same idea. Now, man alignment and running zone is very scary because you can get some very misaligned zones as you see here. Denzel Ward, he is my deep outside third on the right. This could be cool, or this could give up a 1-play touchdown. Just something to keep in mind, though, that we're going to make it look like man coverage. This is really helpful if you run a man coverage scheme and you want to mix in zone. My favorite way of doing this is, let's say I run a bunch of Overstorm Brave, which is a cover 0, and then I also run a bunch of cover 2 man, but then I just want to sneak in some cover 4 quarters sometimes. This is a really nice way to do it because if I'm on offense, I'm thinking man coverage, man coverage, man coverage. The ball gets snapped, and oh my gosh, this is actually zone. I miss my read, and I make a mistake, right? That is the difference, though, between base align, default align, and man align. The kicking game is entirely different in Madden 25 and in the NFL this year. And honestly, I feel like it's a little bit easier to get some pretty big returns in this game. And so what I want to tell you guys is a really easy way to just avoid kick returns, which is simply by, when you're on the kickoff team, press Y or triangle to select the deep kick, and then just try to get full power with that deep kick. I try to get right below the little red bar. And what the deep kick does is literally it just kicks it deep, and it's going to put it into the back of the end zone. They're going to touch back, and they will get the ball at the 30-yard line. That is significantly better than letting them get some kind of kick return. I've tried placement kicking, and I've tried the power squibs, which are the other two options, and this just isn't what you want on your kickoffs. Like, they will usually get pretty good yardage. Now, keep in mind, to actually do the kickoff, you're just going to tap A right here, tap A near the top, and then tap A in that little black bar area to try to get good accuracy. You don't have to be perfect with this. And this is just a really easy way to make sure they can't return the kick on you and that they actually have to play offense. Now, for the love of everything, your user defender needs to be a linebacker, okay? He has to be. I want to give you guys some tips to how to actually use her. The reason we want to use our linebacker is because in most zone coverages, our linebackers are in yellow zones over the middle. So if we super screw up, it's not that big of a deal. Now, when it comes to run defense, how to defend that with our user, we want to make sure we don't get caught up in the offensive line, okay? We want to be a free roamer, someone who can flow to the ball, contain the ball carrier, and occasionally, or even a lot of the times, make tackles. So this right here would be wrong, where I see run, and I get caught up in the middle of the field. Instead, what I want to do is stand back a little bit, and when I see run, I'm able to flow over the top, and actually, in this case, come free. At the very least, you're going to help change the ball carrier's path when you do this. If you get caught up in the line of scrimmage, though, you are doing nothing. You're literally out of the play entirely until maybe super late. Whereas if you stand back a little bit further with your user, you will flow to the ball, help free up other blockers, or you will be there to make the tackle, okay? Really good generalized tip that I see a lot of people struggle with in run defense. Now, when it comes to the pass game, our user has a lot of really cool things he can do, because he could be anywhere on the field. And what I mean by that is one play, right? Let's say I'm Thompson right here, right? I'm in this yellow zone. I could use her right here. I could literally use her in my area. Beautiful. You could easily do that, right? That's simple. Nothing too complex with that. Where things get interesting, though, is when you go from one play, you use your area, to the exact same defensive play call, but next play, we're using down here to try baiting my opponent. Now, one of the best ways to bait your opponent is try predicting their plays before they ever call them, right? So, for example, against Trips tight end, I'm really thinking a lot of people are going to do something like try throwing the seam. You've probably seen people do this in Madden consistently, where they come out in these wide sets and they just throw the seams consistently, right? Something like this right here, boom, snap, throw, whatever. Let's say my opponent has done that 2 or 3 times to me. Well, I will stand even a little bit away from that area, okay? But when they snap the ball and I think they're going to go to that, I would just run over here, and when they throw it, I can pick the ball off. Your user is your most versatile defender and your defender who's most likely to force turnovers, which is going to result in interceptions. Let's say my opponent keeps on throwing corner routes. Well, what would I do? Let's say he's thrown 3 corner routes to the left side already this game. This time, I'd go here, and I'd just run up with the corner route, and when it gets thrown, I can actually make a play with my user. But then on the next play, I could, let's say I didn't get a pick right there, instead of going to user that corner route, I could fake to it, and then work back to the middle to the halfback and make that a tough read. That's why your user is so versatile and so big in making plays, and he can totally disrupt an offensive scheme, even if your actual defense isn't high rated, or just isn't very good with your play calls or anything like that. Your user can make a massive difference, and you have to start using a linebacker and start thinking in the ways that I just described. If you are somebody who feels like they be throwing streaks and stuff and the ball just gets underthrown even though you're pushing the left stick all the way up or all the way to the side or whatever it is, you need to start freeform passing. This is actually, I think everybody should. That's one of the better examples. When like you get like this and you kind of catch it behind you and you're like, dude, I'm trying to catch that in stride. You need to freeform pass. Now, what freeform passing is remember the pass leading stuff we did earlier in this video? All that stuff applies. So we're going to pass lead with the left stick. But while we push the left stick, we're actually going to hold the left trigger as well. So that's L2 on PlayStation. And what this does is Freeform gives us an extended range that we can actually pass lead the ball. This can be the difference between the pass being just underneath a defender or intercepted by a defender. And the best example I could show is on this corner route. If I only use the left stick, notice how there's just, like, I'm able to push it, but I'm not able to push it outside that little gray circle area that forms when the ball is getting caught. If I hold the left trigger, I'll actually be able to freeform it a little bit below. You see that? I freeform it too far, but you see the range we're able to get with this, right? Let's do it again. Boom, haha. And then I want to show you guys my settings. So let's go, boom. We're able to get it just a little bit below, and we're able to actually get a crazy catch. The inaccuracy helped us out a little bit. Let's go into our options and go into game options. Right here underneath passing mechanics, this is what I like. Really, we need placement and accuracy. We need pass lead increase to small and reticle speed to 7 out of 20. If you want to see what the difference is here, though, let's go to large and let's go to 20 out of 20 on this. Okay? This is going to be nuts. Like, this will be crazy. But I just want you guys to see what could happen if you did this. Let's go try to throw that corner route to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you see, we pass led that bad boy all the way down. Like, that went incredibly down. Let's go to it again. See what we can do right here. Bang. I pass led it all the way up this time. Far, I think you want small, 7 out of 20. But I just want to show you guys what we could do on far. And just kind of show you, or I'm sorry, pass lead increase at large. And just show you what some of those differences are so you could seriously see it. One of the best examples of fitting this ball into a tight window is using a custom stem down corner route like we talked about earlier, right? Have a route going underneath it. Using the left stick to pass lead, but add in that left trigger, which is just going to help that pass lead be a little bit more precise and let you thread the needle against a tight defense just a little bit more. This is often the difference between interceptions and easy touchdown. Now, there's going to be times when you're on defense where you want to get your defense just a little bit differently aligned. Let's say they're running the ball up the middle and you want to pinch your defensive line and you want to spread your backers to help them set the edge more. These are all things that we have the ability to do. I'm going to break down exactly how. First and foremost, to do things to your defensive line, press left on the D-pad. That's going to bring up your shifting with the left stick and how you slant with the right stick. So let's say I think it's going to be an outside run. I might actually slant outside and get my defensive line to slant out. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to slanting, there's a visual bug where you might have to do it twice for it to actually show on the little red arrows for your defensive line. That's all with the left stick on the D-pad. Let's say I want to pinch right here. We'd go left on the, or down on the left stick, and there we go. So left on D-pad, then you get to use the sticks to either shift with the left one or change your slant with the right one. Now, linebackers are going to be right on the D-pad, okay? So if defensive line's left on the D-pad, linebackers are right on the D-pad. It's a similar idea. With the left stick, we're able to spread them. We could shift them one way. Let's see, can we get that? Boom, shift them one way, right? We could reset them by tapping the left trigger after that. Or we could go down on the right stick, which is an adjustment I do a lot, and blitz all backers. That's maybe for a blitz setup, or you just think it's going to be a run up middle. You would just want to, like, engage everybody. So right on the D-pad is linebackers. Y or triangle, though, is going to be your coverage stuff. And it's really basic, honestly. First and foremost, with the left stick, we could press. So that'd be down the left stick. We could give cushion, which would be up on the left stick. Or we could show a particular coverage. Keep in mind, if our linebackers are blitzing and we press, you'll actually see them come down into the gaps as well. So that's a fun little tip for you guys. Let's say I want to show cover 3. We could go right on the left stick. Or if I want to show cover 2, go left on the right stick. Now, with the right stick, when we do coverage adjustments with the Y button, we could go shade over top, which is going to get our defensive backs to play slightly over top. We could shade underneath. This will make our defensive backs play more aggressive, and it also turns every flat zone into a hard flat. And then we also have the options to shade inside or outside, which I mostly just use for man coverage, where if I think they're going to run an outside breaking route, like a corner route, I'm going to shade my coverage outside. If I think they're running a slant, I'm going to shade my coverage inside. This, like, usually you combine these different things together. So let's say I want to press and then shade underneath, and I want to zone out all my linebackers by going up on the right stick. Now, I'm able to go full zone. I also think it might be a run inside, though. So my defensive line's already pinched, and now I'm going to slant them inside as well. And this is going to set up a more of an aggressive zone-based defense. We're not blitzing, but we're playing aggressive underneath zone coverage. And if you enjoyed that video, make sure you check out this one right here where I broke down 10 things you need to know before you play Madden 25.